Hey everyone, welcome to Homeschool. In the previous video, we were discussing about the kingdom fungi and we had also completed the Phycomycetes and Ascomycetes. So we are left with two more classes in the kingdom fungi, that is the Basidiomycetes and Deuteromycetes. So we will firstly start with the Basidiomycetes. These are mainly called as club fungi. Club fungi. We will see why it is called as club fungi later. The characteristics of Basidiomycetes as well as examples. So the example for Basidiomycetes is mushrooms. Everyone have seen mushrooms, I guess. So mushrooms are the examples for the Basidiomycetes. Example is mushroom, or the scientific name of the mushroom is Agaricus. Agaricus. Okay. Now, what are the characteristics or how does the structure of the Basidiomycetes look like? So, here you will get to see a small difference as compared to other types of fungi actually. That is, the structure is mainly septate, or the mycelium is septate, and the mycelium is usually in two forms. In case of Basidiomycetes, we get to see two types of mycelium or two forms of mycelium. That is primary mycelium and secondary mycelium. In both the cases, whether it is primary or secondary, irrespective of that, they are septate. The mycelium is septate, but we can see primary mycelium and secondary mycelium. So what exactly is primary and secondary? We will just see in a couple of minutes. Fine. Then the spores which are formed here in the Basidiomycetes are basidiospores. They are basidiospores. Now, the spore germination as well as what is primary and secondary mycelium, we will see it together. Fine. Let's imagine these are the basidiospores. Okay, these are haploid spores. The basidiospores are haploid in nature. How exactly they germinate to form a mycelium is, we will write it here. So what happens? Firstly, these spores will germinate separately. This is spore number 1 and this is spore number 2. So the first spore, now it germinates like this. Okay, it germinates like this. And what you have to observe here is, when it is germinating, it is having septa here and all these are uninucleate in nature. Okay, this is uninucleate in nature. So such kind of mycelium, it goes on. Okay, it will be like thread like structure. I'm just writing a small part of the mycelium, or in case you can take this one single strand as the hyphae here, and too many hyphae together will make up a mycelium, or the network of the hyphae is called as the mycelium. We have seen it in the previous class. So this is uninucleate. So here the uninucleate mycelium, fine, I repeat, the uninucleate mycelium which is septate is called as the primary mycelium. This is called as primary mycelium. So now what happens? This primary mycelium, this is like a life cycle, or this is the process of the germination of the spore. Fine. Now I will write it a bit above. This is primary mycelium. Next step is, these two primary myceliums. Primary mycelium number 1 and 2. This has come from first spore and this has come from second spore. Fine. These myceliums will now fuse. They will now fuse like this. It is now fusing like this. Again, it is septate only. Okay. Now, what is happening here is how exactly the fusion is taking place. So, this will extend and here this is fusing without the septa. So, this remains the same. This is uninucleate, uninucleate, uninucleate and uninucleate. But what is happening here? We have taken off the septas here and it has been fused and we had one nuclei here, one nucleus here. So, now in this particular region, we have got two nuclei. Isn't it? So, if you write it here clearly, we'll wipe it off. Okay. So, these two nuclei have fused here, or these segments have fused so that in one single segment now we have two nuclei. So, this region or this stage is called as the dikaryon stage. This stage is called as the dikaryon stage or two nuclei dikaryonic stage. So, this is primary mycelium. Even here also this is being considered as the primary mycelium only. Only this region, okay? Only this region represents the dikaryonic stage. I'll write it here. Dikaryonic stage. Next, what happens? So, this will again start growing. Like here, the spore were germinating and they were growing. Even here also, now this dikaryonic stage mycelium, this is also a part of mycelium, isn't it? So, now this mycelium will start growing and the next step is, so it is right now, it is in a fused state here and we have these primary myceliums also. We will just depict it here. Now, this stage we had, this dikaryonic stage is now growing. Alright, so here this starts growing into the mycelium. So, next when it is growing, all the segments will be dikaryonic only. That is, each segment will be having two nuclei. So, previously this part had single nuclei. We call it as primary mycelium. Here what happens? Each stages or each segment is having two nuclei and that is the dikaryonic state is being shown here and this represents the secondary mycelium. When the secondary mycelium forms, usually the primary mycelium will degenerate. Alright, usually that will degenerate and in case of reproduction, the secondary mycelium will participate. The primary mycelium will not participate in the reproduction. It is the secondary mycelium which participates in the reproduction part. So, I hope you have understood it till here. So, what happens or what are the characteristics here? They are septate and they have primary and secondary mycelium. An example for that is agaricus. Fine. And the spores which are formed here is the basidiospores. And how exactly the basidiospores germinate? Here, each single spore will start germinating and the septas or the segments which are formed by the septas are having the single nuclei or they are uninucleate and that is called as the primary mycelium. Later on, the primary mycelium fuse at one particular point and that segment of the fusion will be having two nuclei, and this two nuclei stage is called as dikaryotic stage. Later this dikaryotic stage will start growing, and each segment which is made by the septa will be having two nuclei only. So the part of the mycelium which is having two nuclei in every segment is called as the secondary mycelium, and the part of the mycelium which is having only one single nuclei or uninucleate is called as the primary nuclei. In the reproduction, it is the secondary mycelium which participates, it is not the primary mycelium. So after the formation of secondary mycelium, usually the primary mycelium will degenerate. So in the next part, that is in the reproduction, what we'll do is we will just draw the secondary mycelium only, and we will continue the reproduction. How exactly that happens? Fine. So remember this structure. Fine. You have to remember this structure, and I am not writing this primary mycelium part. We are only taking this secondary mycelium, and we will start the reproduction now. On the board, I have written a secondary mycelium. There are few strands, or there are few hyphae which have made the secondary mycelium, and all those they have two nuclei. Hence, we are calling them as the secondary mycelium. So, during the reproductive season, what exactly happens here is, so we will just simply take one single hyphae here. Okay, out of these many strands, it will be like this. So many strands of hyphae will be there, and this is called as mycelium. So out of this, we are taking only one single strand, so or one single hyphae, so that it is easy to study here. So we have septas, and each segment has two nuclei. Okay, so we have one single strand or one single hyphae of secondary mycelium. During the reproductive season, what happens is a small bulb-like structure, okay, a small bulb-like structure originates, bulb-like structure will originate on the hyphae. Okay, so that will originate on the hyphae. This bulb-like structure, what happens is, it will form a constriction like this. In this bulb-like structure will grow, and a small constriction will take place here. So there's something which is happening like this, and it is forming this shape. Okay, a small constriction takes place in the bulb-like structure, and this constriction will further develop. Okay, this constriction will further develop to form a fruiting body. Okay, to form a fruiting body, which is called as, I will first draw it, and later we will just name them. Okay. This is formed, this kind of a fruiting body is being formed, and this fruiting body is called as the basidiocarp. Okay, the fruiting body is called as the basidiocarp. And how it is formed? It is formed by this bulb-like structure, which has later shown a constriction, and that constriction has later developed into a umbrella-like structure. Okay, it has later developed into a umbrella-like fruiting body. I'll write it. Umbrella-like fruiting body. So how exactly this looks like? I guess everyone have seen the mushrooms, and we have taken the mushroom only as the example here. So how that looks like, how exactly the mushroom looks. So it is, usually it looks like there is one umbrella like structure above it. So This is the structure. Okay. Okay. So it looks something like this, right? So here what happens? Here we have some rays-like structure. If you just look at the bottom of the mushrooms, we get to see some rays like this. Okay, these rays are called as the gills. These rays are called as gills, and these gills are in the dikaryotic stage. Fine, the gills are in dikaryotic stage. So now what happens? So we will just take one single gill. I repeat, from the secondary mycelium, a bulb-like structure had originated. That bulb had later formed a fruiting body, and this itself is the fruiting body. So which has been looking like a umbrella structure. So at the bottom of the umbrella structure, if you just look it from the bottom, you see some rays over there, and those rays are called as gills, and these gills are dikaryotic. So what does the dikaryotic means? Dikaryotic means there are two nuclei, isn't it? So now what shall we do is, we will take one single gill. Fine, every single gill will take here. Okay, the structure which I am drawing here is a structure of the gill. We are just choosing one single gill. Let's imagine this is the one, and I'm drawing it now here. Fine. So this is a gill, and as I've said the gill is in the dikaryotic stage. It means that there are two nuclei there. So it is again septate, and we have two nuclei in every segment. So let's imagine about the gill. This is the first layer. Fine, this is the first layer of the gill. We are only speaking about one single gill. You should have a very clear idea. This is about one single gill. Fine. So this is the first layer of one single gill. About this, or on the either sides, one more layer, very thin layer. Okay, very thin layer. Very thin layer is formed. This is also a part of a single gill. This is also a part of single gill. So even this also has two nuclei. All the parts are having, all the segments are having two nuclei. That is, all are in a dikaryotic stage only. Now what happens? About this, okay, about this, there is something bulb-like structure which is, or balloon-like structure which is formed again. A balloon-like structure which is formed again. But what you have to note here is this one, this layer. Okay, this layer is a kind of sterile layer. All right, this layer is non-reproductive. It doesn't have the characteristics of a reproductive structure. Only this mid layer, okay, only the mid layer of the gill, as well as these balloon-like structures. These balloon-like structures have the reproductive characteristics, and these balloon-like structures are called as basidia. They are called as basidia. So this umbrella-like structure is called as basidiocarp as a whole. Okay, this is basidiocarp, and these structures are called as the basidia. Every single balloon-like structure is called as the basidia. So from here onwards, we will just see one single basidia. Okay, and now I am taking only single basidia for the next step. So what happens? Every single basidia is also having two nuclei here. So this is also having two nuclei. So let me draw one single basidia. and it is having two nuclei. Fine. So these two nuclei will now fuse together. Okay, here these two nuclei will fuse together, and that fusion of the nuclei is called as the karyogamy. Fine. They have fused now and they have formed one single nuclei. So till now they were haploid in nature, and now when it has come here, it has become diploid now. So this particular basidia is having a fused nuclei now, and that fusion is called as the karyogamy. So here fusion takes place, that is karyogamy. Okay, next after the fusion what happens? Now this cell will undergo meiosis. This cell will undergo meiosis, and after the meiosis we know that 4 haploid nuclei are being formed. So in case of the meiosis, from a diploid nuclei we get 4 haploid nuclei, isn't it? So in the cell we get now 4 haploid nuclei. So next step what happens is, this is again the basidia only. This basidia only we are speaking about. So this basidia will now form a structure like this. Will now form a structure like this, and these are the 4 haploid spores. These are the 4 haploid spores which are exogenously formed. Since they are on the outer side, we can call them as these spores are exogenously formed. Now, these 4 spores will get released. These 4 spores will get released. So, we have 4 haploid spores. Okay, these 4 spores are called as the basidiospores. These are called as basidiospores, and next each basidiospore will again form a mycelium. We had seen it previously how exactly the mycelium is being formed. The basidiospores here, these are the haploid spores. These spores will now germinate like this, okay, and later on it will fuse to form the, previously it is when it is germinated it is called as primary mycelium. Now when it is fused we call it as secondary mycelium. Later on this secondary mycelium will grow to form a network of the hyphae called as mycelium. Again, out of that mycelium, on any one strand, I mean generally we are speaking like I am taking only one strand, bulbs will be formed on many strands. So on one single strand, again the bulb will develop. That bulb will later form a constriction, and then umbrella like structure, gills are formed. Then the basidias are formed. These basidia later on again will form the basidiospores. Clear? So these spores, these are the haploid spores, and these haploid spores will again form the primary, secondary mycelium. The same life cycle will go on. Clear? So I hope the basidiomycetes is clear with you guys. See, you have to remember all the steps here, and especially the types of spores which are being formed in various classes of the fungi. Alright. So, next one is the Deuteromycetes. Deuteromycetes, this is another class of the kingdom fungi, and these are mainly called as fungi imperfecti. They are called as fungi. You can call it as fungi or fungi. Okay. So, fungi imperfecti. Fungi imperfectae. That is because these organisms or the fungi which belong to Deuteromycetes, they do not have sexual reproduction, or probably still the sexual reproduction in these organisms is not known yet. Fine. Hence, they are called as fungi imperfectae. We will write it. Till now, in these organisms which belong to the class Deuteromycetes, the sexual reproduction is not known, or there is no sexual reproduction. Hence, they are called as fungi imperfectae. Then, what are the characteristics here? So, the mycelium, firstly. Mycelium is branched and septate. Mycelium is branched and septate. Next characteristics. These organisms, they may be saprophytic, or they may be parasitic, or otherwise they can also be decomposers. Which mainly help in the mineral cycling. Decomposers help in mineral cycling. They can be saprophytic, they can be parasitic. Saprophytic is dead and decaying organic matter. Since they are feeding on the dead and decaying organic matter, they can also act as decomposers, and since they are decomposers, definitely they help in the mineral recycling. Then, what are the type of spores which are formed by these organisms? So, they mainly form asexual spores or vegetative form of asexual spores. Since there is no sexual reproduction, it should be only asexual spores. So, they form asexual spores. That is, what are the type here is the conidia. They form conidia here. Alright, conidia is a type of asexual spore which is seen in case of the Deuteromycetes. So, what has happened till now is, imagine there is an organism which belongs to Deuteromycete and it is showing the asexual reproduction, and till now the sexual reproduction is not seen in that organism. But somehow one day someone could find or someone could study the sexual reproduction of that organism. Then what happens? See, if the sexual reproduction is there, then it cannot be placed under the Deuteromycetes. Only when the sexual reproduction is not there or when it is not seen yet, then we place it under the Deuteromycetes. If the sexual reproduction is studied one fine day, if the sexual reproduction is seen one fine day, then what happens to the organism? Then that organism is moved to different class of fungi as we studied earlier. It might be the Basidiomycetes or it might be the Ascomycetes. Most of the organisms which belong to the Deuteromycetes either have the similarities to the Ascomycetes class or to the Basidiomycetes. So when the sexual reproduction is studied in these organisms, then the organism will be either moved to the Ascomycetes or to the Basidiomycetes. Okay. Few examples to quote here. Examples, it is Alternaria. Alternaria is one example. Other one is Trichoderma. Trichoderma. So these two are the examples of Deuteromycetes. So we have completed all the 4 classes of the kingdom fungi. We have seen Phycomycetes, we have seen Ascomycetes, Basidiomycetes, and finally the Deuteromycetes. So this completes the kingdom fungi. So next we have to speak about the kingdom Plantae and kingdom Animalia. We will take up that in the next part of the video. Okay, so subscribe the channel and watch all the videos carefully because they are really important from the exam point of view.